Alright, hello everyone, and welcome finally to the coverage of the WCA 2016 Best of 3 between Wings and VG.R. I'm gonna be your caster Annie, aka Andra, and I am being joined by PQMZ. What's up, man?
I'm happy this game has finally started.
I mean, you and me both. Good golly, about a 2.5, 3 hour delay on this game, but it will be a series worth waiting for here as we have some of the top teams in China battling it out. We've got an Alk IO already picked up for Wings. Good God, that is going to be a powerful draft. But Vici, they grab a Disruptor and a Tidehunter. Disruptor, one of the best IO counters in the game, due to his glimpse, also just laying down that static storm, so a relocate gank may not be so successful. And with the Tidehunter picked up as well, that is some serious sustain from Vici. They've got their supports out of the way, they've got their offlaner picked up. What does Vici look for to combo against this Alchemist?
I think at the moment that what they've got right now is really good at both playstyles IO likes to play. Because recently you've seen like the 5-man IO slightly more than the more split push orientated that it used to be years ago. But right now they probably just want like really solid lanes. It's Tidehunter and Disrupt give them ways of picking the IO off if they want to split push it. They've got superior team fight. I think as long as they don't lose their lanes horribly, they're setting themselves up quite well. Probably some push as well. Boca maybe?
Yeah, Invoker could be awesome
Price
here.
gets banned.
He may end up getting banned, and it'd probably be a good pick here. Just so much team fight added to the pool, and we'll see what they go with here. Is this going to be an Alk IO dual mid? Is this going to be Alchemist and another IO partner? Is this going to be Alk IO safe? What are they going to do with this?
I imagine the Alp will go mid as usual and the IO will rotate around as needed. The quote-unquote partner is a lot less used these days. IO just moves around in the laning stage a lot more, and I think he just plays a bit better. And, worst to worst, you just stack for your Alp, and then you get your 6 by leeching the stacks or taking the lane, so... They have options again, which is good. No teams super commit to anything. I suppose VG are committed to team fighting, but that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, Vici like to go and they like to team fight Wings. They like to play it safe. They like to be very secure, pick up their items before going into engages. They don't like to get jumped on. They definitely do play underneath their own towers here, so we're going to see how they react to that. They've got an Alk, which is a very greedy hero, likes to rotate into that jungle as soon as possible. And, well, Vici, they're looking to go for stuff early here. Once you get a couple levels in that Tidehunter, once you get the Disruptor up, once you get their safe laner with a couple of items, Vici are going to look to jump on Wings, but see what they can find.
The next few heroes will be very much indicating what they want to do timing-wise. Tide's normally a fairly standard hero to get mech on these days, so they'll have mech around 12-14 minutes depending how his laning stage goes, and then they just want to couple that with other heroes.
Yeah, Vici going into their third pick. Let's talk a little bit about what they could do here. I'll let you have a little bit of talking room.
Right. I like Lycan a lot, actually. What it's going to allow them to do is, as I said earlier, it gives them strong lanes. At the moment, Wings don't really have any form of lockdown. Dazzle doesn't help with that either. And again, push that Lycan brings is going to allow them to probably get map control early, and then it's a lot easier for them to play around their longer cooldown ults. Plus, Necrobook is just really good at running at the IO, so it's going to be hard for him to stay leashed in a team fight. Probably one of the better carries of IO. Obviously, there's things like Weaver, etc., but I really like the Lycan here. Not such a fan of the Dazzle though, just because it lacks lockdown. It's mostly extremely defensive. They obviously went for the Dazzle leading up to the Huskar, something that's fallen off a lot since Huskar got his dramatic change, but there isn't a lot of magic damage to worry about this game until Invoker goes level 14 or so. Obviously there's Meatball, but after that it's mostly right clicks, so...
Oh boy.
I'm not convinced it's a good Huskar game, but I hope they don't prove me wrong, because I wish that hero to stay dead, but...
Yeah, Huskar's going to be pretty dirty here. You talked about that combo with the Dazzle, going to be very successful, and you mentioned it might not be the perfect Huskar game, but, it's certainly one to try it out. This is a best of 3. Even if Wings drop game 1, they still have an opportunity to pick up the next 2 games, so why not go for something that's going to be very feast, very famine. It could either just starve, it could be wildly successful, so we'll have to see. That is a very curious pick, and I think they have the supports that combo with it well. Alchemist should find farm around the map elsewhere, and Huskar is going to be hunting. He'll have the Dazzle with the Shallow Grave, he'll have the Io with the regen coming at him, so what is Wings going to look for last?
Probably an offlaner that can initiate.
Oh, yep, that's one.
Well, Titan's not the best initiator, but it does give them a way of scouting behind the towers, cancelling blinks, and making their push slightly easier. And obviously it helps towards their team fight. It's by no means ideal for what I think they needed, but obviously they know better than I in this case. They have a game plan set in their mind. Went through fairly quickly, they didn't even go into reserve time.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a really nice combo for the Huskar. If they get that stomp, if they get the little bit of a throw, this is a neat draft. This is just a really, really cool draft from both teams. A lot of heroes we don't see a lot. I mean, the Alk, kind of standard here. Invoker, you see him a little bit, but everything else is just fresh. It's new. I love these matchups. I'm very excited to see game one.
I'm slightly worried that the supports on VG won't get levels they need, but other than that, I like the Brood pick. There's a lot of pressure on the laning stage. Dead Feast or Famine, and that's kind of what the Brood makes it now. Because Io Dazzle, they're garbage laning supports at dealing with Brood. Huskar can't lane against him, so Huskar's like early dominance when he gets like 6-7 minute armlet. Kind of almost negated by the fact that Brood's getting a lot of pressure. You can always split the map with Brood. You've got amazing team fight with your other two heroes. Goes well for VG. They're probably gonna get one off to a good start.
Alright, we are loading in here. For some reason it loaded me all the way into the left, which is quirky. I'm going to pop on the in-game HUD there, and we are ready to start here. Once again, this is a best of 3 between Wings and VG.R in the WCA 2016 Dota 2 tournament, and we are getting right underway here. The smoke immediately popped out from Wings. They're going to be sneaky. They're going to go plant a very aggressive ward here under the tower, making sure they do have vision of this Broodmother when she retreats. Could combo nicely with a sentry if they opt to go that route, but for now it's just going to be Wings rotating towards this bottom rune, looking to secure some sort of pressure. Up top they do have a rune, or rather a no wards here, just a very aggressive rotation from the Elder Titan. He plopped down alright, so we can go ahead and talk about the lineup here. On the side of Wings, we are going to have Shadow playing the Huskar. Over here we're going to have Dazzle and Alchemist as a support carry duo. Up here we have Wisp being played by Innocence, and oh, finally we do have off-lane Elder Titan being played by Faith Beyond.
I'm so glad you took the team with the Chinese names. Right. FY, the captain of VG.R, playing his Tidehunter, Nono on the mid Invoker, Yang on the Brood, DC on Disruptor, and End aka ZYF on the Lycan.
Yeah, this should be a pretty interesting lineup. In terms of lane domination, I mean, Wings have got some really solid supports, but I gotta give it to VG.R in the laning phase. Now down here, there is gonna be a kinetic field coming out. There's gonna be a poison touch onto Nono. He could be the first blood here. He's getting very, very slow. The acid spray comes out. First blood goes the way of Wings, starting off with a dominant start against the Invoker. That does mean the Alchemist was forced to level up the acid spray and didn't get the Greevil's Greed. Didn't end up securing the Bounty Rune, I don't believe. Up top, Bounty Rune still unclaimed, will go the way of the Disruptor. So it's going to be 2 Bounty Runes going to the Dire, but a dead Invoker starting things off will be about an even game.
It really doesn't make much difference. The double Bounty Rune for the first blood's kind of equalized on gold, so...
Alright,
especially as it wasn't the Alp that got the first blood either, it doesn't make too much difference to any laning stage. One thing I also wanted to point out is like the smoke from Wings was really smart because it allowed them to get this ward without the tower seeing. Same with this one. Not very often you see smokes just to guarantee wards in the early laning stage, but I really like the idea. Quite smart.
Down bottom there is going to be a sentry put down for the Broodmother. She skitters out of its vision for now. They do have another sentry, I do believe. No, Dazzle plops that one down. There we go. And there is going to be a counter sentry eaten up with a ward. They are going to go through, look for a burning spear onto the Broodmother, but Yang will be safe for now. As well, Wings just don't have the money to get any more sentries at the time being, and they may look for more on the Wisp. Wisp is saving up a lot of money here, going straight bottle, but gonna have a little bit of a tough time as she isn't getting any last hits. And now mid lane, No having a tough time on the Invoker. Usually you expect Invoker to dominantly outlast hit the Alchemist, but Alchemist is doing okay. Again, that 1 point into the Acid Spray is buying him a lot of space.
The matchup only gets worse for the Alchemist. Invoker's not super dominant early, but you'll see the CS lead just increase as the game goes on, I think.
Is this going to be an Invoker Midas game, or is he going to go for stepping stones like an Urn or a Drums?
I'd imagine, like, Boots, Midas, it's fairly standard. You've got the heroes to make the space for you this game. Not like your safe lane is ridiculously greedy with the Lycan. And honestly, Midas on Invoke is just very standard anyway. It's too good pass up.
Yeah, and it will keep Invoker holding on to a little bit more net worth as the Alchemist starts to spiral out of control. Now down bottom there could be an initiation if there is going to be a sentry, but immediately gobbling up the counter ward. So they have a bit of vision onto Yang, and Yang does have that one ward. Looking to go through. Ward balance here will be returned to normal as Yang is able to tango off the Radiant sentry. So Dazzle needs to put down another one, needs to go very quickly and look for this ward. Will end up getting it. Now Dazzle goes in. Aggressive poison touch. There is going to be a dust revealing the Broodmother. This could be a kill if Innocence pops out. The Spirits doesn't have him leveled yet. They're going to go for the right-click damage, and Io will be able to secure it with those little itty-bitty right-click squirts. 48 damage is enough to get down the Spider and buys Huskar a little bit of room.
And that kill just about pays off with the amount of sentries they've been trading in this lane. Fortunately, Brute's getting a lot of levels. That really isn't that big of a deal, because you see the creep waves pushing into him. He'll quite happily trade one death for basically a full level.
Yeah, one interesting thing to note is that when Io came in for that rotation, he did end up dropping the dust for the Dazzle. So now Dazzle has a little bit more free reveal onto the Spider, and that should allow Huskar to continue to be dominant. He's 0-0-2, so no kills just yet, but those assists are going to be stacking up. Now mid lane, Wisp tetherings to his buddy. We haven't talked a whole lot about this off lane for the Radiant. Elder Titan going up against some big beefy boys, Disruptor and the Lycan. Lycan's getting a lot of last hits out of this, but will the Elder Titan be able to apply enough pressure to keep him slowed down?
Lane's not about applying pressure, it's mostly about just getting the levels on the Titan. They read the fact that FO was going to jungle on the Tide, which he does very often. So your lane's not going to be enough pressure. And as I say, it's not about putting pressure on, he does just go and get a kill.
Yeah, Titan gonna be enjoying that one. Disruptor not able to help out. Tidehunter did get killed off by that neutral camp. I was watching that earlier. Now down bottom, Broodmother, she's revealed. There's not a whole lot she can do out of her web, and it's gonna be Io now with 2-0-1 as a KDA. Usually you don't expect Wisp to do this well. He's rotating around, getting a lot for his time here, and gonna be regenning everyone back up, tethering to that Dazzle to give him some more mana. Gonna be a fantastic start so far for Wings. Kill score is 4-0, and they're just getting more gold spiraling their way. Does Lycan have the comeback mechanic to carry this into the late game?
He definitely has the mechanic of being able to get rid of this 1.5k gold lead. You push one tower, that's basically gone. Once Invoker gets Midas as well. This is just good for Wings, though, because I didn't think they'd get too much done in the laning stages. They have very passive supports. Well,
we are going to talk right now. Elder Titan goes for the stomp. It will connect onto a bunch. He gets glimpsed back. This could be his path to freedom. The Thunderstrike ends. He's going to be looking for a TP here. The right clicks coming through from the Disruptor. Can he juke? He's got the TP. Can he get away with it? No, he's trapped in by the wolves. There will be enough damage. Tidehunter secures the kill. So Elder Titan with some cheeky plays juked around to save his life, but it was not enough just yet.
It's hard to juke the wolves if end micro some well, so he's still doing really well though. Like the one kill, he's level 5, has Soul Ring. I would say this is more than you expect to get off this lane.
Oh, Spider went in, tried to be aggressive and get a little bit of a munch off onto the Huskar, but may end up paying dearly for it. She's burning, she's going to be gobbling her way through the trees. In the back lines, Broodmother was able to get down the Wisp with the Spiderling slapping away, but she does pay with her life. It's going to be Dazzle taking out the Broodmother. That is Broodmother's 3rd death of the game. You know, as long as Wisp didn't take anyone with her, it's not too bad if the Wisp goes down. And, well, Spider definitely needs some time alive in lane to get those levels and get that split push off.
This Dazzle is fat. Like, he has 13 CS from pulling. He's level 5. They're just convincing me more and more this is still going to work out. But the amount of kills he's gotten has drastically, like, increased his levels. Not something that would normally happen.
Yeah, and it is important to note that as soon as Huskar rotates away and leaves this lane, Broodmother will be able to put a sizable amount of pressure onto the tower, so, Broodmother doesn't have to tap out just yet. She hasn't completely lost, but she needs to play a lot safer. Her going in for that one click onto the Huskar cost her lot. She can't reveal.
I mean, you gotta look at it as a payoff at the end of the day. The amount of stuff they've invested into the Brood and the amount she's given back is kind of 50-50 at this point, I think. Normally wouldn't buy like 3 sets of sentries, 2 sets of dust.
There's going to be a rotation through. You've got FY on that Tidehunter, no Ravage available, so going to go in a little bit prematurely. Will end up getting the Gush onto the Dazzle. And now Dazzle takes a Thunderstrike. He does have the Shallow Grave, may have to pop into it. A Shadow now looking for the counter initiate. Will Dazzle end up using the Grave? No, Dazzle holds on to it. A little bit curious there. A Shadow now taking some serious damage. May end up getting munched on by the Spiderlings. May end up going down here. It's going to be a 2-for-0 so far. As Wisp next on the menu. Wings. They lose a bunch here. Very successful rotation from VG.R. They get exactly what they wanted. They get down the core Huskar, they get down the 2 supports, and that's going to be 1,100 gold going the way of the Dire. But up top, they do have to do a little bit of a trade as Lycan goes down to the Elder Titan, so not going to be as staggeringly in favor of the Dire. But now, with this tower getting very, very low as well, VG.R have found themselves a foothold to get back into the laning stage.
It's a really smart rotation as well. Like, free Ravage coming down once you get the urn, so you get the charges as well.
I'm baffled as to why Dazzle didn't go for the Shallow Grave there.
Didn't think the Disruptor Q would kill him. That's my only answer for you. Because he definitely should have braved himself.
Oh, well, now Radiant may be going up a little bit too aggro here. They try to defend their tower. They will get revision onto the Spider. Huskar is level 6, but hasn't leveled up that life break yet, so he's not going to be pouncing in. They may end up losing the Elder Titan. He gets another clutch stop. He's healed up. He's going to be Shallow Graved up as well. FY does have the Ravage, but no mana to spend, so it will be everyone on the side of the Radiant getting out for now. Although Shadow, trapped between a rock and a hard place, he may look to take someone out with him as he goes in, spraying out those Burning Spears here onto End, and End may end up paying the price here. He will go down, so nice turnaround from Wings. It looked like they were on the back foot, but they find something for their trouble. And Huskar still holding on to Life Break, or rather, not scaling up Life Break. There is going to be a Sunstrike. Doesn't connect onto the Wisp, doesn't get a whole lot done. And now maybe Yang is going to apply some more pressure here, pinging out Shadow, but no one's going to go in just yet. Spider just getting some casual farm, getting herself back into the game, now has 2,000 gold to spend. And up top, we do have the Alchemist. He's still sitting here very nicely, getting his farm going for him. He's got 2 points in that Greevil's Greed, maxing out Acid Spray. What do you think of that skill build?
I much prefer it because it lets you take stacks easier and it's slightly better as a fighting mechanism, but at the end of the day, it's mostly player preference. I always feel like when you don't have maxed Acid Spray, you just jungle so slowly. The stat gain on the hero is awful, so you need every bit of help you can get. Obviously, Armlet makes maxing Greevil's Greed a lot easier though, because now you don't have to wait 3,800 gold to get the relic, so you actually kill camps at a decent speed.
Yeah, so now that we are 8 minutes in the game, we see Invoker establish himself as the last hit leader. Not a surprise there. What is surprising is the Alchemist only found 33 last hits so far to Invoker's 48. And if we switch over to net worth, that is showing up here as Invoker keeping pace with the Alch, but Alch really should be outpacing him at this point.
As soon as he gets to the jungle or gets a free lane with no contention, he'll start rising in net worth fairly quickly. But as you said, Invoker will win the mid lane. About what you can get out of that as an elf. And 33 to 48 isn't ideal, but you know, could have a lot worse scenario. And this kind of stems to the fact they picked Brood as well, because CI was never allowed to stack with the elf, so he's got a recovery mechanism. He wasn't there to bottle him up, so he couldn't deal with the harasses easily. Considering, you know, Brood was dropping a few deaths early, which really didn't matter. Now he's topping the net worth. He's taking complete control of the Radiant Wood, which is going to give Alf even less room. They've already taken the tower. They're just getting what they need done, and they still have Ravage. Maybe take another smoke fight, which looks like they're going to do now.
Yep, they popped that smoke here. DDC going to be following out FY. There is going to be a scan committed by the Radiant. to see if there's anyone walking into the jungle. It's going to expire just before Yang comes through, so they don't scout out the movement from the Broodmother. Looks like mid might be the engage here. Shadow is pushed out a little bit far. He does have that Lice Break. He also has the Helm of the Iron Will ready to go, so we'll see what's going to go down here as FY doesn't have the blink. He just has to stroll in and ravage if that's the play. We'll see what the initiation point is as Shadow goes up to the high ground. They're going to instead look onto the Wisp, as Wisp will end up tethering to the creeps. They're going to have to commit under the tier 2 if they want this, and well, that's not going to be the play. VG.R don't want to go that YOLO just yet. They're going to settle for going in, putting some damage onto this tier 1, and letting Wings get a counter engage if they want to.
Fortunately, the rotation doesn't latch. I really like the idea behind this. The fact you're moving your brood around early and securing the towers. Unfortunately, a decent split push, sorry, deep push, but that's really all Wings have at the moment to deal with this.
There's going to be
they've got the double Midas up and they're still putting pressure on the map, which is a really bad sign for Wings at the moment.
Yeah, Broodmother did go Midas. She had a tough time in that lane, so looking to get some sort of makeup gold and carry herself into the later game. There will be a trade of towers as mid falls for VG.R, and they're looking for something up here. Wings might be able to get this tier 1 tower. It doesn't look like VG.R are going to go in and punish them. They're just going to send Alchemist into the, or rather Lycan into the jungle to get some much needed farm. He's going to be going in for a Vlad's. Should have it out very, very shortly. Picks up the recipe right now. So towers being traded. I'd argue that top tower is a bit more important because it opens up the jungle for the Alchemist and the Huskar.
It's kind of 50-50 at this point though, because Brood's taking your jungle, you want access to their jungle. I'd say the trade's fairly even, but VG.R should be able to get more off of that trade. And they've even got Midas. Sorry, never mind. They just have the 2. I've for some reason thought I saw a third one on F5, which I really wouldn't put past him, but he's not that rich yet.
I mean, this guy is known for some crazy builds and crazy plays, but that seems like maybe a bit too much. They're going to go in very aggressive Ops Ward in this bottom lane. I like it here. FY definitely making sure he has the upper hand in terms of vision, in terms of rotations, and well, he is going to be saving up for what looks like it could be a blink after he picks up the urn, so he's going to be a bit more mobile. He'll be able to go in for those crazy initiations with the blink ravages. Down bottom, they might be looking to jump here onto Shadow. Shadow does have the life break and the armlet. Not going to be an easy pick. Do they go for the IO first? No. Going to go Gush in onto Shadow. He does end up popping that inner vitality to keep himself healthy, and Yang continuing to farm up. There will be a stomp taking out some of Broodmother's spiders. Actually not going to kill them off just yet. Disruptor gets a little bit low. Shadow maybe looking for the life break jump, but he's a bit cautious. He runs back and forth, and doesn't end up finding anything for his time.
And Wings are just, like, they're committing 3 heroes to sit behind this Huskar, and they lose any here, it's not good for them. Really surprises? Oh, never mind. Wisp is Imbers. As casters, we can't see that. Which
oh my, I was wondering why they weren't going on the Wisp. Alright, so we are going to have Shadow going through. Doesn't life break onto the Tidehunter just yet. FY holding that Ravage will end up spending it. There's going to be a tether in, trying to keep the Wisp alive, but Wisp does end up going down to the spawn Spiderlings. Now on the backlines, they do get down the Huskar, courtesy of that Ravage and Tidehunter's follow-up damage. So FY, he gets himself low, he's still alive, he's taking a quick nap, but will earn himself up. And now this is going to be some sizable push from VG.R. They've got the Lycan, they've got the Broodmother, they have a very, very quick tower-taking lineup.
And the only respite from Wings is they have the ET to slow it down a small amount, but his deep push is not what it used to be years ago. Looks like they don't want to commit though, because they used a lot of mana and health in the fights. It's much better to take your advantage and leave instead of trying to get greedy and then possibly give it away.
Yeah, VG.R.
Get caught by an ET stomp. Bad news.
VG.R have incredible restraint. They go in, they get exactly what they want, they even up the kill score, they're going to go ahead and take themselves a strong net worth lead, but then they back off and go back to farming, which is exactly what they need to do. They can't go for too much too fast, but on the flip side, Wings is getting some decent farm on their Alchemist. He's now taking up the top spot in the net worth chart, not by a whole lot, not by the margin you'd like him to have, but he does have the armlet, he does have the medallion, so he's picking himself up a little bit more of his toolkit, and might be a useful fighter in the minutes to come.
And this looks much more like the miracle build of, what was it, Manila? No, Frankfurt, sorry, Frankfurt. And at the end of the day, I think it's much better this game, because he's going to need to fight with his team. He can't go for the Radiance, Octarine, Manda, try and split push VG.R down, it's not going to work, so... Not sure what he wants to go next, SNY, playing Shadowblade, all viable options.
There's going to be
He's going to need a lot of items.
Yeah, Elk has to be like 6 slotted before he can really start fighting, and the rest of his team might be having a struggle. You expect Huskar to do a good amount of early damage, but he's only got 1 kill for himself right now. He's got the armlet, he will have the treads and about 100 gold, but it's not where you want your Huskar to be just yet.
And that's all because of the laning pressure from Brood. There's not many offlaners who can do that. And you see what Yang's doing at the moment. Wings commit 4 heroes bottom to try and push. He sends his spiders down, cuts for creeps. And they really don't have a response to it. Just slows them down so much. And any time that VG.R managed to buy themselves, I think, favors them. Right now, Ravage is cooling down. But if they wanted, they could probably go bottom, get the fight again. They know there's no tier 1, so they know the out can't get there. If Wings commit, push, punish them again. Need to wait for Ravage for that to happen. 11 seconds away. They could also go for the trade. Like, they're gonna get that tower anyway.
Yeah.
If they want to go tier 2 or if they want to defend.
So we talked a little bit about the Alchemist and how far behind he is, but let's talk about the Lycan now. He has his Vlads, he's got 800 more gold. Is he looking for a Blink, a Shadow Blade, a fighting item like an S and Y? Does he go for an immediate BKB? What is he doing next?
But you said Lycan, right?
Yeah.
Definitely not Blink or Shadow Blade. Probably Necrobook. I don't think there's much reason to deviate. You might see Desolator instead because of the weave plus medallion and armlets coming out, so there's a bit of armor, but I think Necrobook's just better, because you can send it on the Wisp in fights and that stops half the sustain coming out from... Or just send it on the Dazzle. If you can supports to run away, they can't play defensive and sit behind their cores.
There's going to be everything unloaded onto this Wisp. He will end up TPing away as the Shallow Grave does keep him alive. He gets away with, I want to say, like 1 HP courtesy of the Shallow Grave. He would have certainly gone down without it, but overall, rotations in from VG.R won't secure any kills, but definitely force back the Wisp. Now, Wisp is not able to go in and do anything with his team. There is going to be the Tidehunter sitting in the pit. They're going to rotate in the Lycan as well, and that should be a very quick Roche. The Alacrity is up on the Invoker, so he's hitting fast, he's hitting hard. There is going to be that Howl, so everyone's smacking very quickly, but with that Howl called out, Wings might be a bit suspicious. They're going to smoke up and they will check out the Roshan pit for themselves. FY here with that Invis rune will be the one to break the smoke and will scout it out. He does have the Ravage, and that's going to be an awesome play for him to go get like a 4 or 5 man Ravage. The Roshan does fall. Invoker actually grabs the Aegis now early on. There is going to be a Sentry revealing FY. He pops into the Ravage right away. Very smart play from him. Now Shadow is going to look for some sort of break here onto FY. FY may end up going down, does end up falling. Earth Splitter comes out from the Elder Titan. They might get no here as well. He's dropping low. Looks like Broodmother on the back lines is going to be fallen very, very low. Does she burn to death? She lives for now. Her babies might not be so lucky. They're going to get picked off one by one. Wings will be able to get exactly what they need to here. They don't stop the Roshan, they don't stop the Aegis, but they get a kill on the Tidehunter, and they force VG.R on the defensive foot for that fight.
Most importantly, Ravage get used, so that gives them the ability to push some tier 2s now. Or at least for tier 1. Very least. Ravage is the big team fight. You saw, like, when there was TP'd out bottom, VG.R really don't have stuns. They don't have ways of catching you out. They really rely on Ravage. That's why FY's rushing his Link. He's not opting for Arcane Boots or anything, because he realizes that.
Alright, so we're just going to go for a tower race here. Mid lane, looks like Wings are going to be successful in getting on this tower. They push through the Fortify, but down bottom, Spider easily mops up this tower. She may even go for tier 3s, knowing exactly where Wings are engaged right now. And FY on the backlines, again, still 80 seconds till the Ravage, so he's not able to be that zoning presence. That threat of a Ravage is not there. And now there is going to be a glimpse back from Shadow. They do have the Wisp there for a tether. Easy relocate if they need it in 15 seconds. And everyone's just going to kind of sit back, go back to farming on the side of Wings. They went in, they got a tower, they do have pressure exerted onto their tier 3s, which Shadow will clean up, so still feeling like a pretty even game in terms of overall XP. It is in favor of VG.R. Gold, slightly a similar story, but no one's just stomping yet.
It's mostly going to come down to, I think, one team fight, one death push. And that's generally how Huskar drafts work, unfortunately. It's very anticlimactic. I think that trade overall favors VG, because while it does expose both sets of tier 3s, it's a lot easier for the boot to whittle down the tier 3 as the game goes on, just sending spiders in, pushing the wave, etc., always forcing someone back. Wings, it's a lot more obvious when they can push. If you can always guarantee a trade, or force someone back, you dictate the pace of the game, and Wings don't really have an answer. But when they went for that tier 2 trade, it's because they had no other chance of getting that tier 2 when Ravage was up. Fortunately, they can't really worry about what collateral they're giving away.
So Alchemist has gone in for that Solar Crest, and he is saving up a big chunk of money. He has some goodies on the courier flying out to him. He's going to be going in, picking up his point booster. Interesting, so he's not going to be going for the Radiance, he's going instead for Ags, since now we are going to have Wisp. It will end up popping after the Shallow Grave ends, and Shadow is going to be next on the menu. He's trying to go take someone out with him, but will not be able to burn down FY in time. FY is too tanky. They might be looking here onto Faith Beyond, they're going in, they're going to get some damage off, but they will end up forcing back VG.R. Tidehunter, again, still super low. Not a whole lot of tools to keep him healthy, no one's sitting on the mech just yet. He's going to be going in with those Urn of Shadows, but well, VG.R, they're looking very nice here. They still have the Ravage at their disposal. They didn't end up burning it for that last fight. They got down the Huskar, they got the Wisp and the Dazzle. So Alk was still alive. They didn't quite get him away, but VG.R are looking commanding here. They're going to go take out this tier 2 mid, and they should be successful. They're going to be munching through a Fortify, and that will end up going down in just a little bit, and that Fortify is going to be pretty costly.
I like the idea that they go for the tier 2 as well. Unfortunately, they don't feel confident enough to get it. Again, just back up, take your advantage away. Still have Ravage, so they don't need to back up. But said the Alp's going Ags. Did he give it to?
Not Tide, not Invoker.
Why would you give Huskar an Ags? Like,
I mean, I guess to get that raw damage online.
This decision.
I mean,
because
yeah. I mean, I don't think you go for first item Dazzle. You may want to go for Elder Titan, because he's a huge initiation point. That Earth Splitter, if it draws in and disarms, means that Lycan and, Invoker aren't going to be able to do that much. But honestly, it seems like Wings don't have the best Ags team, so I'm not quite sure why Alk opted to go for the sharing build and put the Ags on the Huskar instead of just going for, an Octarine or something to keep himself up.
I like his build-up. I just don't understand the decision to go Ags, because, as you said, none of the heroes... Like, they have okay Ags. You can get it 50, 60 minutes into the game, but getting it at this point, okay, it really beats the Huskar up. It gives him a lot of stats, so it's going to make him a much better frontliner. 4-second cooldown also means he doesn't worry as much about certain things in fights and going, but puts them really all in now.
Oh, okay, so there's going to be a deep dive from the Radiant Heroes that may get punished for this as the Ravage is popped. They will get the Alchemist very low. He is going to be popping into that Chemical Rage right about now. There is going to be a Shallow Grave onto the Dazzle who may end up going down, but the Earth Splitter coming through is going to do a lot of work. There's going to be a glimpse back. Io does end up getting down the Lycan, and now, oh man, that Life Break just ripping apart the Tidehunter. FY will end up burning, so Huskar is getting some damage out of that Ags. It is paying off for now. The Stomp will connect onto DDC. There will be a relocate back in from the Wisp and the Dazzle, and there's going to be a killing spree coming out from the Invoker. He's picking up what he needs to. Relatively even fight so far, 2 for 3. VG.R, they're still up, they're still going. They've got Yang, he's low health, they're looking for more though. Spawn Spiderlings will connect onto the Dazzle, but that could be it. The Wolves munching away onto the Wisp. He's trying to go through, he's trying to regen up the best he can. They're munching on the Wolves, and the Wolves will end up timing out, so they're not going to get the Wisp here. There will be a Sunstrike slightly off the mark, will not be able to get down Innocence. So again, the fight does stall out at a 2 for 3, and that gold heavily favors Wings.
But you have to look at who the gold's going on in that engagement, and it's not the 2 cores from Wings. VG.R, sure, they lose their life, but he's not even their most farmed core at this stage. He's actually having a very bad game, but Brood and the Invoker are doing the job for him.
Brood does have that insatiable hunger going in, try to get those lifesteal procs. The Tornado will come through, splashing out a Spawn Spiderlings onto the Dazzle, but nothing coming out of it just yet. And her Brood Mother, I don't know if we talked about that Orchid pickup yet. That's going to be pretty fantastic for her. She also has another 2k gold on top of buyback. And what's she looking for there? Does she go something super greedy like a Manta, like a Daedalus, or does she have to get more utility and level up into something like a Bloodthorn?
I don't think Bloodthorn yet. Much more of a late game item. Just like some utility, fighting items, whether it's SNY, BKB. I don't think you need BKB. Maybe even AC. Something to help your team fight overall would be really good. They've already got the Vladsaurus, so maybe just get AC. It busts everyone up.
Yeah, I actually really would like the AC. I think survivability is a bit off. The Lycan, he's not going full survivability, instead going for that push and sustain. And, well, Tidehunter, he's pretty tanky. He's got that 4 points in the Kraken Shell, but they do need a better frontliner. They need the Broodmother to go in and just start bullying Wings, looking to make sure they don't have a nice jump point. So I would like the AC a lot on the Spider, and we'll see if she's going to go that. She's saving up a lot of money, so this could end up being a Radiance. Why are those bugs doing what they're doing? Oh, Howl. That's cool.
I don't think there's any chance of a Radiance. It's most likely he has a full inventory at the moment. He might be debating what he wants to spend his gold on. And surprise factor is a big thing in these kind of games because it's fairly close. It's probably going to come down to team fights. If you don't give the opposing team any indication of what you're buying, even when you are quite hard to click on and you're mostly off the map, it's that surprise element which can win you a team fight.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, has he debuted the Orchid yet? Like, I'm sure it's been scouted out,
Yeah.
but... Okay.
He's used it in several fights so far, so... Again, focusing on the slots, getting on the backline so they don't have their defensive tools is really good play. Might even see BKB from him just so he can do that a lot easier. AC's a better team fight overall, I think, but BKB lets you get on the backline, which is what he's trying to do.
Yeah, BKB will be the pickup here. He's getting very close, could buy it out, but doesn't want to exactly spend every little last bit of its gold. And now FY here on the Tidehunter, he's got that blink, he's got the Iron Talent in the urn, so his toolkit is near completion. Does he go for the Greaves here? Does he look for, you know, like a Solar Crest? What is the Tidehunter doing to make him the most utility in these fights?
I think it's probably late for Meh. Maybe just 4-staff fight 4s. He wants to go greedier, maybe Shivas, but I don't think he's going to get a big influx of gold. And if they do, it's off winning a big team fight. And then if they're winning big team fights, Tide's items doesn't matter. I mean, you could also go for a Refresher instead of the Shiva's argument, I suppose.
You've got two smokes walking into each other. Everyone pops all at once. They're going to pop the Chemical Rage, but immediately Ravage. FY not messing around. There's going to be... Oh, man, Alchemist getting locked down. He's trapped in the field. He's taking that Static Storm. On the backlines, you've got Lycan running for his life, and Invoker will get the kill onto the Alchemist to start things off. They get the Wisp as well. They're looking for the Elder Titan. The Insatiable Hunger from Yang might be enough. The Shallow Grave comes out. There's going to be Elder Titan going in with that Earth Splitter ultimate, but for now, it's going to be a pretty successful fight coming out. Okay, Yang may end up burning here. Will end up going down. Does end up taking the Dazzle with him. Now in the backlines, it's just going to be Shadow dueling it out against the surviving Radiant Heroes. VG.R, they're not as tanky as they think they are. FY actually burning, getting quite low. Looks like there will be a triple kill picked up for Shadow as the Burning Spears take out the Tidehunter. It's just going to be DDC getting out alive. One more hit is not enough, so it is going to be a 3-for-4, a costly fight on both sides, but Huskar picks up a huge sum of gold in that fight. Very successful for him. Overall, almost a 3k gold swing in favor of Wings, and Huskar now sitting on over 4,200 gold.
Apparently, they know better than me, and Ags on Huskar was the correct decision. Because there's no item Alp could have bought in that fight. I don't think that... Maybe BKB would have helped him, but... Huskar Ags just turning him into a 1v5 hero, and they really don't have the tools of dealing with him being this tanky at the moment. They don't quite have their set of physical damage yet. Even Brood doesn't give him anything light way too far behind, and didn't tank the Ravage and get this down, so... This is getting scary for VG.R actually.
There's going to be a kinetic field that will not lock Shadow into place. Now Shadow just jumping here onto the Invoker right away. Might be able to get the kill. There's a relocate out. So maybe a bit of miscommunication. One more spear would have gotten the kill onto Nono, but I guess better safe than sorry, as the rest of the Dire will end up rotating in. Dire desperately want to take this Roche, but now with Alchemist joining the fray, I'm not quite sure what they're going to be able to get. There will be a glimpse back in. Everything's kind of going haywire as both teams skirting around, tossing out casual abilities, but no one's going for the full initiation just yet.
They don't really have one without Ravage, so that's why Wings feel so confident going in here, and getting an Aegis on their Huskar at this point is going to be their cue to either mop up the tier 1 and tier 2 bottom, or maybe just go for the high ground push. The only thing they're going to have to worry about is VG.R splitting in that time. Yang's already bottom pushing the Waven, so they might just want to push that out, cut off his plans.
So looks like after the
We'll just-
Fortify ends, this tower will go down, so it will be finally all the tier 1s cleaned up on the map. But mid lane, we do have Yang going in pretty deeply up against the support duo. I mean, they don't have a lot of damage to their name, but they certainly can go in. They bring the Alchemist through. There will be a BKB on the Spider, so Alk will end up stunning himself, and now Innocence does have to take that shallow grave. They're trying to turn onto Yang. The BKB ends, and looks like he will get life broken down. Dominating streak on the Huskar. Now the Sunstrike will not connect onto Innocence. Up top, we do have Faith Beyond going in. It does have a Yule Scepter now, able to catch out the Invoker for a brief moment, but not going to go with any follow-up there. Shadow stops, picking up some goodies in the secret shop. Is going to go in for that plate mail, so it looks like it could be an AC or a Shiva's. What do you think we're going to see here?
Probably AC. Shiva's is not something you really consider on Huskar most of the time. Not the best trade for VG.R, but it does draw Wings away from their base a bit. And if they can continue splitting, waste out the Aegis, it's good for them. But Wings have got the momentum in the mid lane now, so I think this is just their cue to go. Might not be like a game-ending push, but they can definitely get racks, unless VG.R get a really good team fight. And you kind of have to ignore the Huskar and kill everyone on the back line. But I think you can't ignore him now, and you can't go on him because he's the Aegis target with 2 defensive supports. Might just be a set of racks for free. Like, the Lycan splitting getting a tier 2, so there's at least a trade for the tower. They can somehow trade like tier 3 for racks. I'd say that's in favor of them. And getting a trade is good, because they definitely don't have a good defense.
Okay, Tornado EMP will come through from the Invoker. They're going to be burning up a bunch of Shadow's mana. The tier 3 does end up going down. Shadow pops out of the armlet form on the backlines. You've got DDC. He will be revealed. Looks like that, oh man, Disruptor just gets slapped down. 3 hits and he's dead, but he will end up walking away for now. Shadow does have that life break. Again, super short cooldown. Going to be going in with the kinetic field, trying to trap in, but okay, just gets absolutely dunked. And now that's going to be a Disruptor dead for 45 seconds. We do see the Lycan rotating back. He doesn't want to continue that push. Instead, wants to help defend his high ground. As Shadow still feeling healthy, tethered up by the Wisp, getting that regen flowing for him. And well, VG.R, they're running out of tools to do everything. They still have the Ravage. They've got the Invoker now going in with the Alacrity, with the Cold Snap. So they do have a brief moment of lockdown on the Shadow. He's going to be going in another EMP to burn up his mana, but he still has enough for that life break. And now going to be going in onto the racks. They get the melee. They are going to go for the ranged as well. They will be able to secure that on the back lines. You've got the Spider. She's going to be taking some spirits, but they're not able to go for the lockdown just yet. FY has the Ravage. Is going to get stunned up just briefly. Cold snapped as well. So we'll see. Is he able to cast it? Now Yang, he's going in. He wants to find one more spawn Spiderlings on the IO. BKB pop to commit for this. We'll be able to get the kill onto the Wisp, but it's only a Wisp. Now on the back line, Shadow still looking here. It looks like End may end up burning down. Huge kill out for the Huskar, going in for that life break onto Nono, taking out half his health, but not able to finish the job as he doesn't have detection. Now Alchemist is looking for the stun. Will end up going in, finding the Unstable Concoction very, very deep onto DDC. This Disruptor could end up going down again. That was a, not dieback necessarily, but the second death in a very short time span. Invoker will get the kill on the Dazzle, but in exchange, Shadow goes through. He's going to be having to armlet up here, getting very, very low, but he's hitting super, super fast. The light break just slapping him down. This may be it here. There's buyback on everyone except for the Lycan Disruptor. And there's going to be the Aegis burned on the Huskar. So he's going to let himself go down, come back with full health, full mana. And, well, it's now going to be what looks like it could be a tier 4 push. Wings are ready to end it all. They're throwing Shadow in the tier 4s. He's going to have to go through a bit of backdoor protection as they need the creeps to come through, and you know, shouldn't be too much of a challenge for him. FY, again, no Ravage for him. Throwing out a casual gush, but not doing a whole lot. These tier 4s are melting. Can VG.R just tap out now? They have the buyback on the Invoker, but not opting to spend it just yet. That could be crucial. As Alchemist, he's still chemical raged up. There's the buyback on the Invoker. Lycan Wolves will be munching away onto the Alchemist. They get down the tier 4s. It's exposed Ancients for Wings. They secure a huge tower gold lead, about 7,500 now in favor of them. Life break on the Huskar. He's brought into the fight and immediately secures a kill. He's godlike. I bet Disruptor regrets that glimpse, and now Tidehunter will pop out of that ghost form pretty soon, just getting completely decimated, and does have to go back to base for some more regen. Lycan now, he's melting very, very quickly. He may end up going down here. Where is he? He's just sitting there underneath the tower. He's burning from Huskar. And now Yang will end up going down. I believe that's going to be GG. Invoker gets a nice combo out, but it's not enough here. You've got Elder Titan just slapping away on your Ancient. The Ancient will end up falling here in game number 1. GG's in favor of Wings. VG.R are the heavy favorites to take this series, but Wings, such a triumphant game 1, and Huskar, we talked about it being feast or famine. This guy absolutely feasted. Any final thoughts on the game?
Axe on Huskar, man. Apparently, This is obviously something they've worked around with in scrims, and they drafted it. Well, I didn't think it would work as well, but they just got to a point where Axel and Huskar, they got the one successful fight where they both smoked into each other, and it just gave him such an overwhelming lead. Joe never really got the Lycan to be where he wanted to be, and next game I'd expect Huskar gets banned out, at least in the second stage, because this feels like they got cheesed, honestly. Every time you lose to Huskar, it feels like you get cheesed.
Yeah, I mean, Huskar is so situational. We've seen him just absolutely get in there and lose games, so I don't know if they're going to try to run that strat 2 times in a row, because now VG.R have a much better idea of what they're going up against. They may be able to counter this, but the only way to find out is to stay tuned for game number 2 coming up in just a couple of moments. Hopefully no more delays on that. Again, if you've been enjoying the casting, please feel free to drop a follow. You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle's up there in the right-hand corner of the screen, Android. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/AnnieCasts. So stick around, we're going to hop into a brief break and come back with game number 2 of Wings versus VG.R in the WCA 2016 Dota tournament.